going to show you the characteristics of exponential functions. If you recall from the other day, you saw that exponential functions are things that grow or shrink really quickly. So if you look at my equation here, it's y equals 2 to the x. This is the parent function for an exponential function. And you see what it looks like right here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on it. But you see that it goes up really, really fast. That is an exponential growth model. It goes up really fast. The other thing you're going to be asked to find is the domain of the function. Well, in the x direction, it goes all the way to negative infinity. And in the other direction, it goes all the way to positive infinity. So your domain is negative infinity to positive infinity. The range is a little tricky. So it looks like the graph touches the x-axis. And if I keep zooming out, notice it never crosses it. It actually never crosses the x-axis. No matter how much I zoom in to this graph, it will never touch that x-axis. Well, that value is 0. The y value there is 0. So the range for this goes from 0 up to infinity. The range will never be negative infinity to positive infinity for exponential functions. The next thing we're going to talk about is the y-intercept. Where does this thing cross the y-axis? Well, it crosses the y-axis right there at 1. So your y-intercept is at 0, 1. Okay, so you're going to be asked to find that. So you're going to be asked to find the domain. You're going to be asked to find the range. You're going to be asked to determine whether something is a growth or decay. This is a growth because it goes up. You're going to be asked to find the y-intercept. And the last thing you're going to be asked to find is something called an asymptote. An asymptote is simply a horizontal line that the graph never touches or never crosses. So if you look at this particular graph, we already discussed it. This thing never crosses that axis. No matter how many times I zoom in, zoom out, it's never going to touch 0. Well, the equation of that line is y equals 0. So if you look here, I made it a pink dotted line. And you can see from that this actually never touches it. I'm going to keep zooming in just to kind of prove my point. But if I keep zooming in and zooming in and zooming in, okay, I'm going to show the second example in the next video. There are 3 examples, 3 videos.